lads, we are back.
Still here.
Happy afternoon. I mean, evening.
Okay,
Wow.
I need to ask this question. When does the evening begin?
I think
5
you
p.m.
asked me this before
I have asked this question, yes.
on the podcast. Now I have to remember what my answer was.
I think you said depending on the time of year when it gets dark.
Yeah,
Good
like
answer.
6, 7 o'clock, maybe.
I think it's evening now. It's evening now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting on the cusp there.
I guess it depends on the season, right? Between afternoon, pre-evening, and then evening.
Pre-evening.
Yes.
That's a new one. Never heard that one before.
Speaking of seasons, don't we love the postseason? Unless you're the Habs fan and you hate watching your team because they are not trying anymore.
Rough.
And we'll start with the Habs and Leafs series.
It's a rough start.
God, was the series was 1-1 we had our last episode, right?
Yeah.
The Leafs now taking a 3-1 lead. I, at this point, am just hoping they get to Game 6 because I have tickets. Like, I have them. They are in possession. I'm hoping to God that I can go watch a hockey game this season. But at this point, like, I want to just, like, put it to you as, like, Habs Twitter, like, you can read the fan base's reaction to a certain extent. And you know, it depends on who you follow and whatnot, right? Last night, I want to say halfway through the second, I think Habs fans have given up on this series. I thought I wanted so badly for last night to be Game 5 and the Leafs to have finally put Montreal away. I was that fed up. Oh that's the mood in the fan base right now.
I mean, remove my Leaf bias here, but I do think that is fair.
Yeah, I mean,
it wasn't great.
How many patience can you have?
Yeah, not a lot. Especially, you know what I think, in my opinion, where it would make it worse is that Carey Price is literally standing on his head and nobody else.
You don't know.
He's been great.
Like, nobody else is. I don't want to say nobody else is trying because I don't know if that's like, I don't think that's necessarily true, but it's like, looks like nobody else is trying.
It's really, sorry, Daniel, you're going to say something there?
Yeah, it's just like, I agree. Like, I think it's not like they're not trying or anything. It's just what we talked about when it came to the preview for Montreal to take a stand in this series is that a lot of the guys have to kind of perform above what they've kind of shown and not just really stick to the role they've already known. And, you know, Carey Price, star goalie, like, he's going to show it. But at the same time, when we think about where the offense is coming from, that's what I felt that really dried up. Or there is no offense.
There is none. What is it? 4 goals through 4 games?
Yeah.
Nylander has 5, by the way. Oh, we haven't mentioned, the Leafs are up 3-1 in the series. Cool. Guys, I tweeted last night that when Carey Price gets inducted into the Hall of Fame, they have to introduce him as the man who deserved better. A lot has been made about the goal support he's gotten his entire time as a goalie in Montreal, like 2014 onwards. The average goals per Montreal scoring is less than 2.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Just for reference,
know that.
When he won the Vezina, his goals against was 1.98 or 96. His goals against the year he won the best goaltending performance we've seen in this era. And that's what he's now being scored against, or like the goal support he's getting. You know what's really interesting is last night the lines were like Suzuki, Toffoli, Caulfield, which everyone was screaming about since Caulfield got there. They had the Deneau line back together, but Gallagher played like 15 minutes. It feels like it was like Kotkaniemi with like Josh Anderson, like all these combinations that you were like, man, if you had said that going into Game 1, that was Montreal's forward lineup because Romanov's still not playing because
know why.
No reason why. And if you saw those lineups going to Game 1, you think, wow, there's a real chance here. And it feels like those decisions have come at too late at this point. I don't get the sort of, we talked about the line shuffling and just there's no time to experiment anymore. And Eric Engels even had an article for Sportsnet. Ducharme has just lost the plot Honestly, he has. I saw a video from Overdrive, and it was Darren Dreger. No, it was from Leafs Lunch. And Darren Dreger was talking about before the playoffs, he could see that Dom Ducharme maybe could have come back. And maybe looking at it now, he didn't think there was a chance. I don't see how there's a chance he comes back. I don't think Burr should come back at this point. And like I've said this before on the show, and you know what, Burge has had his moments, but like at this point, it's just it feels like we're almost having a post-mortem on the Habs, and we can do that later, maybe after Thursday, the way it's going. But at this point, the tolerance I have for Marc Bergevin and the current core group of management in that is at a very low point right now. And the fact that at the end of this season, Yoel Bouchard still doesn't have a contract. They lost Stephon Waite. And what are we going to be left with? It's concerning right now. And again, the usage of some players too. Like Phil Deneau playing 20 minutes the other day because he was hard matching Matthews so hard. What's the thinking here? What's the game plan?
I will get to I want to get to the game, but you brought up an interesting point there about Bergevin, because it was I was having this conversation with Mike on whenever we were watching the game. I don't remember which game it was.
They're all the same.
They're all no, I don't remember. I just don't remember which day. And we were talking about Bergevin because he had popped up on the screen, and we were having a discussion about that, and he's like, how, like, you brought up that your patience has run out. And I remember when we did that, the offseason rankings, we had Montreal as champions of the offseason, and Marc Bergevin is the general manager of this team, right? So and this is my perspective, I look at the roster that he's put together, and I think they are a good roster. We all had them. I'm pretty sure we all had them top 2 in the division. It's the coaching that didn't work out. So if you're like, is Marc Bergevin the problem, or is it I mean, he's made mistakes, but like,
yeah, I think I don't know if I could go on, Adam. I kind of felt with the Marc Bergevin thing when we talked about the offseason changes, what we've seen on the ice is, yeah, on paper, these guys he brought in, they're all great. On any other team they've been before, they've been great. And I think that's the big thing about it, is that when his contract expired, like this was his quote unquote going all in type of way of seeing things, where it's like, I need to put on a successful team on the ice. And like, really, I think that what he kind of failed to address, and, you know, no one really foresaw how that coaching was gonna go, because again, like, they did have the losing streak last year, but at the same time, I think both.
Both 2 8-game losing streaks.
But at the same time, I think that, like, and for me personally, I kind of felt it too, where you had, I guess, as a figurehead in a way, Claude Julien, where it's like, this guy's won before, he's been around and everything, but I just did not foresee how this was going to go. Or even with Dominic Ducharme, where there was that a bit of hope, where he's that new voice in the locker room. But again, it's like the same thing that's been going on.
You know, I look at the moves in the offseason, and I don't think you can deny the impact that Josh Anderson has had. I know people laughed at his goal total, like his point total, 17 goals. Shut up. Tyler Toffoli was unequivocally, like, without a question, success. I think the moves he did make were good. Jake Allen, I mean, was the starter for half the year. Joe Edmondson was a fine move to play with Jeff Petrie. The problem is the Canadians' center depth, great. Lots of talent there, young, a lot of potential. Wingers, there's some great wingers in there, okay? You know, we've talked about some of them now. Gallagher as well, Caulfield, young guys. Goalie, Carey Price. Like, you know how I always go on about how the regular season doesn't matter? I think Carey Price's performance in the postseason this year and last year has reminded people who cares. And I just want to say this. I think his performance in these playoffs should remind people why he is projected to be on Team Canada, because there is no goalie better in this league that is better at the big time. The big problem with Montreal right now is they don't have any mobility on the goddamn back end. Well, no, it's one of the major problems. Like John Merrill still being in, Sherratt and Weber thing. And we can go in, like, there's minutia we've talked about. One hand Weber playing on the power play. Claude Julien, you can look back at the beginning of the season. You can think when they started tailing off, you could have like accredited to that was their scoring, like their PDO evening itself out, right? And then, okay, maybe that Claude Julien afterwards has the right reins. Like, let's figure this out first off. Dominic Ducharme was placed in an impossible situation.
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely. However, the job he has done since, and he had a very large portion of the season, has been a complete disaster.
Correct.
Player usage has been crap. There's been no sort of the Habs. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, and I haven't shut up about it. They're allergic to work below the hash marks. There is the plan of the only time they will bring the puck behind the net is to ring it around and try and do it with zest to try and get it to the other defenseman. And then ugly point shots when there's going to be no traffic or anyone there to get the rebound. And it seems like that's just been the plan. And it's not been working clearly because they have no goals.
That's what confuses me a lot, because you bring in Josh Anderson, you bring in Tyler Toffoli, you bring in Corey Perry, and you have these guys that could quote unquote crash the net, can be those guys in the low end, and they just hasn't been anything. Like, there's been a lot of those low percentage shots still being given to Jack Campbell.
I saw him in a headline about not Michael Hutchinson. I wish. It was like Jack Campbell is outplaying Carey Price, and I nearly threw my phone out the window. Now, you cannot deny looking at, I think it was game 3. No. Yes, no, maybe so. Which one was it? The 2-1 game. It was Caulfield's first. Game 3? Game 3. Jack Campbell, the last third period when Montreal were really pushing, was outstanding. Really, really good. He got a shutout. Like, you can't deny the pro gamer move there, as we call it. Though the Habs have made his life so easy, especially in the second periods this season. What is going on there? I mean, again, you cannot sit there and deny a goalie who I think lost less than 5 regular season regulation games this year at like a .930 save percent. Honestly, if he had played the rest of the season, he would have been in the Jack Adams conversation around there. Honestly,
or Jennings.
I should have said Vezina as well. Vasilevsky, but you know what I mean? Goes against pure wide.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. At least in conversation, yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking of the minimum 25 games things, and that. I don't know. It's just, you would think that a team that was so heavy on going physical, and that when I think of a physical, hardworking team, that's what I think of crashing the net. When I think of a guy like Brendan Gallagher, who not just in the playoffs, but going back to the regular season, he was a player who was losing ice time under Ducharme. How do you do that to Brendan Gallagher?
He's a guy I kind of think of again, not super comparable all the time, but he has that Marchand skill set where it is a guy where we watched in the Capitals Bruins series is someone who's always close to the net. It's someone who's always kind of getting there. And I think that I agree, Brendan Gallagher hasn't been used properly.
No, how many players have been? I mean, it took until them losing, being down by 1 in game 3, 10 minutes left to get Caulfield going. Just all these tools that Montreal have had at their disposal. And by the way, I don't know if there's just something that's been hammered into Montreal's players, but Caulfield's the only guy that works towards the slot, it feels like sometimes. It's like he's the only creative guy out there. And it's, first off, I haven't had a player like this for a while. That's pretty sick. But then you realize, and I felt like in last night's game, you could tell the pressure was starting to get to him. I felt like there were some power play passes where you're like, okay, it gets intercepted there. And I don't mean on the Petrie one, the one where he fell over. That was completely on Jeff Petrie. But it almost feels like maybe he's starting to feel it because here's a 20-year-old, right? Yeah, he turned 20 in January. We were all happy for him, and I think he has been Montreal's best offensive threat since he's been in the lineup. But what else has been going on? And it goes back to usage. It's been an absolute joke. And I saw somebody tweeted out, is Dom Ducharme's coaching future in jeopardy? And Alex, you quote tweeted it saying, no chance here. And I replied to you saying, I'm going to give my opinion here. If he is the head coach next year, forget about bubble playoff team, bubble wildcard team. They're a lottery team again. No question about it. Again, I can't. Nothing going about it. Nothing.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Just there's always the discussion about, okay, give him a give him training camp. It's like, no, it's like, it's beyond giving him a training camp. It's this, he cannot stick with one thing for longer than 2 games. And that's, I think, when it comes down to it, unfortunately, Montreal's not in a position where they can change things up and be okay. They need some consistency. That's what they need.
I think what speaks volumes of different in coaching right now is the Leafs are without John Tavares and Nick Foligno, by the way, who have been, Tavares being gone, Foligno's stepped into that second line there, but then once he's been hurt, next man up mentality. And what the Leafs have been able to do to adapt to that, while there has just been nothing on the Montreal side. And with that, we will transition to the Leafs. And I want to talk about how much the poetry is here of the game that snaps Habs fandom is the best game I have ever seen Alex Galchenyuk play. First off, I want to give it credit here. Because, again, we know that Gauch offensively is incredible. Those 2 goals that he single-handedly created, holy crap, this guy. How dare he? How dare he? I wish he would have done that more in Montreal.
I predicted. I knew you were going to say that.
It was the game of Alex's.
Yeah. Baldwin was texting me saying, why could he not have done this?
It was the game about him, Galchenyuk, and Kerfoot. That current second line now of Galchenyuk, Kerfoot, and William Nylander. And I'd like to give some time to William Nylander because, my God. But
we will in a second. I just want to say quickly, Kerfoot is making everyone who traded him in fantasy trades, us included, look like total idiots because he has been fired.
I criticized his cap hit. I remember at the time. That was the one thing. He's living up to it.
I did criticize him. Now I feel bad.
Mm-hmm.
I called him a throw-in in the trade, and I feel bad. I'm sorry.
Oof, dang.
And I feel bad.
Oh, yeah. I think a lot of people did, though. So
I just said because Colorado didn't want to pay him. That's why he was thrown into the trade. But I'm like, no, he proved me wrong.
They ended up paying someone else. Maybe JT Compher, I think.
Was it Andrei Burakovsky?
No. They gave another player a pretty much identical deal to Kerfoot.
Yeah, I think it may be Compher because Burakovsky was done over the summer just passed, right? So
okay.
He was still on this bridge, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
William Nylander. Honestly, I saw some fancy numbers, and I mean, forget about the fancy numbers. I respect them. Don't worry. I'm not Pierre Maguire. He has been the best Leaf in my opinion. The way he's been playing, scoring more goals than the whole of Montreal can muster.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's true.
Again, and it's something too, where his game's really elevated. Mm-hmm. James Myrtle always has those funny tweets about his contract being a steal. I love it. But at the same time, I remember when Jason Spezza also talked about it too, that Nylander's just evolved in a way, that leadership role he's kind of embraced in a way where he's another voice in the locker room when John Tavares went down. And I think that's what we all wanted from William Nylander. The goal scoring, the skill was already there. But I think a big thing that people felt was where's that other level that they know that the potential is for him?
Alex, I know you really want to give Nylander some love here.
I do. I actually have a bit of I don't know if it's a hot take, but I have a bit of a take about William Nylander. And I'll get to it at the end here. But no,
he's a better player than Austin than McDavid in the playoffs.
I thought you were going to say that you prefer Alex Nylander.
It's not that hot. No. No, he's looked really good, and he's probably, with the absence of John Tavares, even with Nick Foligno, he looks like he's taken another step, at least in the playoffs. And I really do, for his sake, hope it lasts for the duration of however long they are in the playoffs for, because he's looked really good. And what Daniel was saying about leadership, I do think that these moves that Kyle Dubas made in the offseason, and people can laugh about it and say they're trying to win the 2012, 2010 Stanley Cup. It's starting to pay off. And
funny?
Yeah.
Sorry, finish.
No, like it's starting to pay off, not on the ice per se. Like, don't get me wrong, Jason Spezza has looked, my God, like fast as I don't even know, like just crazy fast. But it's off the ice that this is Matthews, Nylander, Marner. These are the guys that you're grooming to become leaders.
Mm-hmm. I have a buddy of mine who's just really become like getting into hockey because his girlfriend's a massive Leafs fan.
Yes.
I think I told you guys about it before. Good old Cameron League. And I asked him yesterday, like, who's your favorite Leaf? And he's like, Morgan Riley. I'm like, interesting. I'm like, who's your least favorite Leaf? And he's like, Wayne Simmons. I'm like, really? I'm like, why is that? He's like, you'll see. He's like, he always just get into fights, and I just don't like him. I'm like, I explained to him, Cameron, what Wayne Simmons does on the ice is we don't care, like whatever. Like even though, like I feel like if you reverse him in Ben Sherratt, like Simmons actually doesn't take any penalties, so there's a bit. What's that there? But it is that off the ice stuff. Like if you had watched the Leafs before, right now, Wayne Simmons is playing that's a Daniel Chara role of just I'm gonna do whatever I want and I'm gonna get away with it. You're gonna hate playing against me. I'm going to be a big boulder in your face, and it's lovely. And that's what you think of. And, like, that's it with Spezza and Simmons. And, like, Spezza, him and Justin Hull, by the way, and Hull, shout out to that block he had on Caulfield in the last few minutes of Game 3. Yeah. God, Babcock looks like an idiot every month, doesn't he? It's hilarious. Can't wait till he's a head coach.
I don't know if I told you this story. I was watching the game. And the first game 1, and the game ends, and I switch the channel to. I'm like, okay, no offense, I just didn't really want to watch Paul Byron's interview. I was in no mood to watch Paul Byron's interview. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go turn on the Minnesota and Vegas game. Just watch it a little bit.
Yeah,
I see Mike Babcock's face, and I go, nope, back to Paul Byron talking.
That's how much I was laughing about is I kept saying to him I should have tweeted it out, but I kept thinking about it to myself when the fourth lines would match up against each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, I'm watching the 2011 All-Star game.
So that would have been like what? Simmons, Spezza, Perry,
Thornton.
Paul.
Yeah.
That's disgusting. Was that the year Lidstrom was still captain?
Yes.
Captain of that team, man.
Because I think what Zetterberg was 2012.
I don't remember. Pretty sure 2011 was also the year that Lidstrom won his last Norris. Weird.
Which
Very
is crazy.
Weird.
My William Nylander hot take. I forgot.
Yes.
Okay, it's a bit of a hot take here. If doesn't necessarily have to be this year. It could be next year, whatever. When or if the Leafs win the Cup, William Nylander will be the Phil Kessel equivalent in their first year where he deserves to win the Conn Smythe, but won't win the Conn Smythe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's my hot take.
Yeah, it'll just be like Matthews has like 3 goals more than him.
Right.
It'll be the Ovechkin Kuznetsov thing.
Them as well, yeah.
I could see that because, like, on paper, that second line is like okay. I mean, like Kerfoot and Galchenyuk, they've been great. Yeah, but I think like coming into the season, you didn't expect them to be in the top 6, and what I see it now is it is true. Is like it is kind of like the HBK line. I find like Carl Hagelin has all the speed in the world, but he's not exactly like the biggest goal scorer. Like Nick Bonino has his moments. I hope it shows up for Minnesota soon, but he has those like playoff moments where he is an effective guy playing center, and I think it's a good comparable, like 2016 Bonino and 2021 Alex Kerfoot.
Yeah. I'm not going to bother bringing up officiating because whatever. Do you guys want to have a word on Dermott and Brooks, by the way? Because interesting. Is this Travis Dermott's last game as a Toronto Maple Leaf before it goes to Seattle, all that kind of stuff?
Probably. Yeah. With Travis Dermott. Brooks drying in, I think, is more giving Riley Nash, right? He didn't play last night.
No, he didn't play.
Right, giving him a night off because I think like not everyone returns from like returns from an injury like Zach Hyman, where he kind of just came back and it worked.
Yeah.
It was just like an absolute freak. Like there's probably other players I just can't think of off the top of my head. I imagine Brendan Gallagher's the exact same when he comes back from injury.
He has not been this year.
Okay.
But like Shea Weber when he came back from his knee injury.
Right.
Yeah.
So like it happens.
Kucherov.
Oh yeah.
Perfect example.
Yeah, there you go.
Like I think he just needs to get up to speed. And Brooks, that fourth line with Brooks, Spezza, and Thornton has worked in the regular season. And I mean, listen, give it a try in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Daniel.
You know, I liked Riley Nash. The only thing I'm like, I kind of felt that like they're going to give him some time just because of the injury as well. But at the same time, like that's also his Leafs debut.
Yeah.
He never really played for this team. Like he didn't. Like they had their practices, but I like the Adam Brooks edition. I think I've talked about it. I don't know how many times since you guys met me, but just Adam Brooks has been that guy for me. Where the fact that he still was able to draw in for a playoff game, and he just that adversity kind of guy where it's a story you want to see.
Mm-hmm.
But the same thing with Dermott. I think he played pretty well, but I don't know. I'm gonna be sad he leaves. If he leaves for Seattle, I know that the role for him has really diminished. That he probably doesn't feel like there's a future in Toronto anymore beyond this. But I like that the Leafs have this depth, that they have so many of these options. And again, like we look at that bottom pairing, the options the Leafs have, and then this is after trading Mikko Lehtinen.
At the end of Travis Dermott's time in Toronto, he's going to regret one thing. He's like, man, I wish I was right-handed. Maybe I would have a guarantee. His legacy in Toronto. All right. I say we talk about the Islanders in Pittsburgh now because they're playing, and we don't want this to get too biased for the rest of this game.
Would you like to know the score?
It's 1-1, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
I have it next to me. I think it's Jeff Carter scored. And
correct.
Who's the Islander?
That's a great question. I didn't actually have it on. I just went on NHL.com. Anthony Beauvillier, who I've been told
he's having a series,
great playoffs.
You know what when he was first drafted, I thought it was Anthony Bouvier, like Marge Bouvier.
I thought it was like Beauvillier. Like the extra like Ilie is kind of weird in there. Anyway, Isles took Game 5, double OT, after a disastrous turnover by Tristan Jarry. Some would say a rookie mistake from the young man. Marc-Andre Fleury would never. And now we have a Game 6, the Islanders up by 1 in Nassau Coliseum, which, as we know, is a rocker. And the last game they had in this Coliseum against Pittsburgh, it was like Game 4. The Islanders rocked the house down, and it was pretty fun to watch. This is the second time, I think, this week, or 7-game quota, that we've seen a young goalie in the normal Metro division just cock up a game for his team. First with Samsonov, now with Tristan Jarry. That's not great.
No, it's not. And
I
had Pittsburgh going through. Now,
Still
having doubts. I mean, yeah, sure. I have lots of doubts. That Edmonton pick just has me questioning literally everything from now on. But
we're gonna get to that.
We're gonna get to that. Yeah, I know. Oh, and Ken Holland. Oh God, that press conference. But yeah, it is a tight. Would you guys agree that it is a tight series still? Like,
in a way, like I think that, like, of course the Penguins are a lot better offensively, but it's like that kind of thing where just they don't know how to get around the Islanders. That so many of the problems where they've had in the past with them, it's not like they're not adjusting to it. That they still have these rushes, they're still getting the shots on goal, but again, like low percentage shots. And Sidney Crosby, I need him to wake up.
Yeah.
Also, Evgeny Malkin, I know that he missed a lot of time as well. He's one of those examples too, where he came into the lineup pretty cold, where he missed more than 10 games, and then they put him back in the top 6 right away, and he struggled mightily, especially with staying out of the box.
How do you lose not a literal shootout crapshoot, but how do you lose a shootout to the Islanders? How do you let the Islanders score this much? It's ridiculous. It's the Islanders. What are you doing?
I feel like, I don't know, they clamp onto you. You know what I'm talking about? If this makes sense.
Yeah, I still though they've never been this kind of like conversion team. I wonder. We'll talk about them a little later, but is it has the window closed for Sid and Ovi's era? Because this is like again, like Sid was, and we hate counting out Sid. He had a great year. He'll probably be captain Team Canada next year, I'd say. If you look back to that first series against the Islanders, I think he had an assist. Against the Habs, was pretty quiet. And then you go up against the Islanders this year. I'm just saying, I think you have to have a look, and you would imagine this offseason is the first time that you kind of that Hextall will be his first offseason, and Burke will kind of look at like, okay, what do we really have here? Because I don't know, I don't see the Penguins in the same sort of threatening light that I have in years past. And I think it's really starting to shift in the Metropolitan. Which
all right, before I go on, I have this is not a bit of a joke, but it is kind of true. Like there's some truth to this joke.
Okay,
things haven't been the same since Chris Kunitz left.
I thought you were going to say Phil Kessel.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, to that extent as well. I mean, that's kind of true, but yeah, I don't know.
Your power play's been
they were always that great team. You like if you were not choosing the Blackhawks, you were always choosing the Penguins if you wanted that dominant team in NHL. Mm-hmm. And I think like to that degree, it really has not been the same. Like, Jim Rutherford, when we talk about him being so trigger happy, for him to try to make a roster around Sid and Malkin, it just hasn't worked. Like Jason Zucker has been good, but he hasn't been great. And I think like they're relying a lot of guys now that they're just not those game breakers. Like they'll put up the numbers, they'll be there for the occasional goals, but it's true. It's not the same. It's not the same surrounding anymore. Like it's not that feeling I have anymore. Because like Malkin, for how good he is, he has had so many injuries, and he's 34 already. Like I don't see him having that same pace anymore. And I think for Crosby as well, it's just that lightning in the bottle he always had with certain line mates, and they tried to reestablish that too when they brought back Connor Sheary. It hasn't been the same.
Alex.
I mean, yeah, maybe we'll get to Washington a bit later, but at least with Pittsburgh, I can see it. The one thing I think of, though, is Brian Burke, he must have seen something, and I know things obviously can always change, but he's the type of guy who's always said was more than fine not staying, not coming back, getting back into management or being a president of hockey operations. So maybe he must have seen something. I think there's some fixes. I wonder if I don't know if this is the only solution, but it fixes something. Getting some better goaltending than Tristan Jarry and Casey DeSmith.
I mean, we always joke about it. Man, Marc-Andre Fleury is great right now. I mean, who knows if he would have been the same in Pittsburgh because, maybe need to change the scenery and all that eventually. But Pittsburgh, I guess I'll get a final prediction. Pittsburgh are about to go to the power play, so maybe they'll shut us up right now. Scott Mayfield, cross-checking. How dare you?
One more thing I just say for the Penguins is that I think it's just they're a unique case because I think that sometimes when teams want to continue the window, they have moments of transition, but I think because you have Crosby and Malkin and Letang, they never really had that because arguably I kind of felt too that they never really repaired their defense. They got lucky with John Marino, and that's it. Like that's about it. Like Brian Dumoulin could only do so much, and then the other guys they performed well, like Marcus Pettersson, even Cody Ceci, Michael Matheson. But like I don't know, it's just I'm naming these guys, and they're not the same rock. Like type of solid guys like I felt that Trevor Daley gave, or going even further like a Brooks Orpik, a Rob Scuderi, or even like the offensive guy like a Justin Schultz where he knew his role, but now I'm suddenly seeing that these a lot of miscast players on that team trying to take on other roles that maybe they were never really meant to play.
We'll keep going here, and hell, we were next to Washington, Boston. Boston win in 5. I'm mad about this because I really thought Washington were really going to come in and rock Boston's world here. Boston in 5. A just super disappointing game all around, I thought. And God, was it so sad to see Chara? Like, they had a shot once the game was in of just Chara, and he looked so defeated. And just going through the handshake line of seeing like the Bruins guys just wanting to just hug him instead of just doing the handshake. Jake Gensel just scoring the power play. I'll shut up about complaining about Pittsburgh's power play. Oh Lord. It was just, there was so much in that game that sort of at the end of the day really looks at Washington series. And the way I say that is because Kuznetsov, what are you doing cross-checking a goalie like that, my man? What are you doing?
I had to hide it, and I'm like, that's not, it's so obvious. I know.
It was terrible. It was going for the body, not the boy. He didn't even have the puck. Lars Eller was about to try and get something off there. Man, there is just something not right there. There is, if we're talking about window closing, I think it's done for Washington.
Are you going to sing closing time?
Did you? Sorry. I'm assuming you guys heard Brian McClellan either yesterday or today when he was asked about trading Kuznetsov. And he pretty much said he's open to anything except trading guys like Ovechkin and Backstrom. Which is
right. I'm sure Mantha can probably be on there because he's got him. But
I'm surprised John Carlson's not there. Like, he wasn't on the untouchable list.
I'm sure he's on the list. He just said Ovi and Backstrom and guys like that. So I assume
like saying, listen, we're not going to trade Gretzky or Messier, but like, let's be honest, like Curry or something, or pretty
Paul
good.
Coffey, pack your bags.
Yeah, exactly. Or, Joe Sakic and Peter Forsberg, you're not going to touch him. But I mean, Patrick Waugh, get out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's probably staying, is my guess. In John Carlson.
No one's
right. I think it's definitely disappointing that Washington lost. I believe I had them going through, and it's what I thought was the big thing for me was them going out and getting Anthony Mantha, which I thought was the perfect fit for Detroit, for Washington. Wow, I mean
Detroit did well.
Detroit did.
Right. They did really
getting
well,
Jacob
right.
Ran, a great pickup, a first round pick. But it's like a Tom Wilson-esque type player if he stayed consistent. And under Peter Laviolette, I felt that was possible, giving him a little kick in the behind to figure that out. It's just unfortunate the way it turned out, the mistake from Samsonov, and then it's just Kuznetsov cross-check. It's just mistake after mistake, and it's going to be an interesting offseason for the Washington Capitals, that's for sure.
I think after the Kuznetsov cross-check and the disallowed goal, I mentioned it in the doc, but Daniel Sprong taking that penalty.
Yeah.
With less than with almost 3 minutes left. And I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, at the same time, like, that's the guy you're going to have out there at that time of the game. And it was another thing where it's like, of course, this is what happened to the Capitals. I did pick the Bruins in our preview advancing, but I thought this was, if I was going to pick a series, I thought this was going to be the 7-game series. I have another hot take here, where if I was Chara, I wouldn't regret anything, to be honest, because I remember I forgot who did write it, but it's for The Athletic in last off season, where they mentioned that they didn't offer him a contract. The idea for the Bruins was that he was just going to join upper management, but he told them he still wanted to play. Mm-hmm. So I think making a decision to go to the Capitals for him to at least play did make sense.
Go on your own terms if you can. I mean, he deserves to end his career the way he wants to. It is now 2-2. Wicked stuff for the Islanders. They are going nuts. I love this crowd. I can't hear it, obviously. Palmieri again. Wow, what a player. What a pickup.
You don't miss the Islanders in Brooklyn?
No, I don't like watching hockey on crap ice. That's why I don't watch the Coyotes. Have not watched a single Coyotes game all year, and I don't feel bad about it. Like, I have a trouble watching them whenever Montreal would play them in a normal season, much less, like, I want good ice. You know what I mean? Like, it's not hard.
I don't know about you guys, but the most I watch Arizona per year is twice. And that's when they play the Leafs. But like last year was the only exception where I watched them play more, and they weren't even in Arizona for the bubble. I mean,
yeah. You see, and you didn't even watch those to watch Arizona. You watched that because you knew Nathan MacKinnon.
yeah.
And
I thought the Phil Kessel love was going to come out.
Well,
I do
love
guys,
Phil Kessel.
speaking of Nathan MacKinnon, Nate Dogg with the sweep on the St. Louis Blues. Oh, I mean,
Theory play Gloria.
I just want to say that can we like Alex? Can we just kind of put Glory in the background as I kind of? I just want to say that at the end of the day, the Edmonton Oilers have a man who has won. They have two different players that have won Hart trophies. They couldn't get it done. Couldn't win a single game. Wow, Connor McDavid, 3 points, can't get his team over the hump. Nathan MacKinnon, again, leads his team to the promised land. The Blues never stood a chance. Like, it was pretty bad. But my Lord, Nathan MacKinnon, let me get his point totals up here really quickly, because this is a man on a mission. This is a player that I don't know how you watch what he is doing. And again, as a big game player, is leading his team to the promised land. And you don't think, wow, this is the man. This is the best player on planet Earth because, oh my God, he can actually win a playoff round, unlike a certain man in Edmonton.
I mean, I think that's sure. We are
Flashbacks of last episode.
Yeah, go ahead because I don't know. I'm assuming you guys saw the Instagram post.
Yeah. Wait, sorry. I just want to be sure. Are we talking about the Avalanche series or the Oilers?
The Avalanche.
Yeah, Avalanche. By the way,
Okay.
MacKinnon has 9 points in 4 games. That brings his career playoff totals, 44 games played, 63 solid points.
Wow, it's pretty good.
He's the best player in the world right now.
Is he simply the best?
Around.
No, it's a Tina Turner song that I put on the Instagram.
Tina Turner is.
What?
Oh,
He was like, wait, you don't know either, Alex?
no, I do.
Oh yeah,
Hey, dog.
we used to listen to her all the time in the 80s.
Daniel, you're not from the 80s. You're only like 23, aren't you?
You know, what's pretty funny is
24.
I used to make up these like scenarios that somehow I watched. Okay, this is so off topic. That I watched Back to the Future when it came out, and then people were like, "What the heck? No, you didn't." Like 1985.
I feel like you do that once an episode here. Anyway,
Definitely.
Okay,
St. Louis Blues were
Not
just
great.
picked apart. And I loved Alex, why don't you go ahead and show these Instagram pictures? I'm assuming you're screen sharing them.
Oh no. Okay, I had them on my phone. I was just gonna show you from my phone. Oh,
Well, we can do, he's got him here. And oh my God, what's this from Philip Grubauer's?
memories from round one.
From his Instagram, that's the caption. And there are refs holding Jordan Binnington from trying to get to Philip Grubauer. I'm pretty sure another. Do you have the other Colorado post?
I don't know who it was. I'm gonna go look for it right now.
okay, like before like Alex looks at it, what I'd like to say is, I did not know Philip Grubauer had this personality.
No, I think
And I think it's just coming out even more now.
I think it's Jordan Binnington who brought it out because it's just he's such a scoundrel.
Mm.
That's a very nice word I'm using to describe Jordan Binnington. Boy, the Blues were just never in it. Apparently, they only had a lead the entire series for like 7 minutes. Tarasenko had a big final game, but that's great to see. A little late, Vlad, but they did not stand a chance. Like, it wasn't Colorado bad, but it wasn't Colorado, Arizona bad, but it wasn't far off.
It was like you expected, you knew this was expected. Like, you saw game one, and I think that there's a lot of series where people say, okay, they're going to come back. No, I didn't see it with St. Louis. Like, I know Jordan Binnington had the saves, but again, like people were talking about the injuries that the Blues had, but for the people that were there, like they just didn't show it. They didn't show that they wanted it. And I know that people are going to look at it and say, what about their back end? What about David Perron? What about, Jaden Schwartz not being 100%?
Yeah.
But at the same time, what about the guys that were there? Like Ryan O'Reilly, Braden Shen, that like 1-2 punch they had going into their Stanley Cup win, they were invisible.
Can we just talk about it's like, hey there. Yeah, so Colorado are scoring all these goals. What's going to help us defend? Justin Falk. Yeah, okay. That's the guy we need. And I mean, okay, yeah, sweet. You didn't have David Perron. Is that the guy holding your team together?
He was the leading scorer for the year.
Colorado.
Yeah, if you look at I checked it, David Perron, I think, led with, 64 points. I may be off a bit on that, but he did lead the team in scoring.
That's humiliating. Half the series wasn't that long. Colorado didn't have Nathan McKinnon. Sorry, you always know this when he's on the ice. He's not giving away series-winning goals. They didn't have Kadri. What are you doing? I mean, that might have been a good thing because no more major penalties against. But they're like, again, we if we start counting this series shouldn't count because X and Y, then like, shut up. This is not how sports work. We've talked about this so many times. It's just they were a bad team. They lost their glue in defense. They overpaid the wrong guys, and they just weren't good enough. As simple as it. They were outclassed by simply the best team in hockey right now.
I know this is revisionist history here, but how much do you think, like, how bad was it after Alex Pietrangelo left?
I called it.
Yeah, you did.
Yes. Before we move on this, I'd like to confirm the numbers that I said. I was actually overestimating. Okay. So David Perron led with 58 points in 56 games, which is not bad. Pretty good. Mm-hmm. Second, 54 points in 56 games, Ryan O'Reilly. And this is where it drops off. Okay. Then tied for top 3 in scoring on that team was Mike Hoffman and Braden Shen with 36 points.
Oh, my God.
And Hoffman was getting benched. That's disgusting.
He played on the third line for a bit, and then it wasn't there.
Bad. That is not good.
A lot of work to do in St. Louis. Though I'm looking forward now to Colorado just going all the way. At least I really, really hope so. Because we don't know who they're facing yet, but we will see. And we made fun of them before, so we might as well get to it. Did you guys see the Stephen A. Smith video?
Yeah.
Bringing all the trash personalities for hockey. Let's go. So Stephen A. Smith. Okay, hold on. I'm getting the audio for this ready. This is hilarious. I love this so much.
You know it's bad when Stephen A. Smith is trashing you.
Oh God, Stephen A. Smith. Oh, he's making fun of Kawhi, overrated Kawhi, McDavid. This is just, oh my God, where is it? I can't find. Okay, no, here it is. Hold on a minute. So, if you know who Stephen A. Smith is, ESPN.
How
important guy? Yeah, how do you know? How do you hear it? So, Stephen A. Smith on the Edmonton Oilers getting swept in the first round.
We all know.
And you can hear it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We all know I'm not a hockey expert, okay? The only thing I know about hockey is that the puck is black. I've heard that Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, I've heard both of those guys. Connor McDavid, the phenom, the future of the sport, the NHL's leading scorer. Draisaitl, second in scoring to McDavid this year. The NHL's leading scorer last year. Swept in the first round as the higher seed after not even getting out of the qualifying round last year. Now, how you gonna do hockey like that?
I love that. How are you gonna do like swept in the first round after not getting out? Oh my God. What's the best part about that too is Stephen A in the background has a graphic that they've clearly put together for him. Since 2015-2016, the NHL point leaders. Third, Leon Draisaitl, 497 points. Second, Patrick Kane, attaboy, 531. And Connor McDavid at 574 points. Was that his rookie year? No, it wasn't. Surely not.
15-16?
Yeah, that was his rookie year. That was a shortened year, yeah, like for him because he got injured.
With a broken collarbone.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. We'll start with game 3, shall we? This is even the worst part.
Oh my gosh! Like, I guess we'll jump ahead to the 4-1.
No, backwards, Daniel. Backwards.
Okay.
Game 3 against the Winnipeg Jets. It was a 4-1 lead.
Where have we heard that before?
And Josh Archibald taking a stupid penalty, which he was then suspended for. How happy were you, Alex, when you saw that?
When I woke up the next morning,
I don't know what he was doing. Like,
day.
he's going against Logan Stanley. It was like a foot over him.
And it leads to an avalanche of sorts. 4-1 in the third period.
I never want to hear a single 4-1 comment ever from someone who lives or cheers for Edmonton. Like, this is worse.
They would lose the game 5-4 in overtime. Connor McDavid, this is game 4 I'm thinking of. But anyway, I called it on the show. Nick Ehlers with the game-winning goal.
Face-off snipe.
Shot. Yeah. It was awesome. And then we go to game 4. Triple OT. McDavid turns over the puck for the game winner. Kyle Connor and the Winnipeg Jets sweep the Edmonton Oilers. They're going home.
I stayed up for that game. Oh, that was so tiring. It ended at like a little, like before 2 a.m.
I stopped watching after the first overtime. I'm like, I can't do this. I can't. It's terrible. I love, the Bugs Bunny memes. And it's like, I wish all sleep-deprived Jets fans a very good day.
I was tired. I'm not even a Jets fan. And I stayed up.
Jesse Pollock's.
I can't watch them. Like I watched. I mean, I can, but I always mute them.
You just see his face and you're like, okay, I'm going to lower the volume. And as you listen, you have to steadily put it up a level at a time to be like, okay, where can I listen to this? Oh, Edmonton. Oh, I love it so much.
Here's what I will say. I will never give Edmonton a single ounce of credit anymore, because I did. Remember, at the beginning of the season, my thing was, okay, they'll make the playoffs. They probably won't do much. Their defense isn't great, and they have Mike Smith. And I say, you know what? At the end of the season, I'll give them some credit. They had a good regular season. They came in second. I am never doing that again. I'm done. I'm done with giving them credit. I'm done. It's over.
I mean, you had the Oilers winning, right?
In 7.
Daniel, what did you have in the series?
I had the Jets, I believe, in 7. So I thought it was I thought it was going to be a close series.
Mm-hmm. So if you'd allow me to for a second here, guys.
Go ahead.
I said before this series.
Yeah.
I had the Jets in 6, by the way. So this is just even better.
Yeah.
This is just the best thing that's ever happened. McDavid, I think in that last game too, had 3 assists, or even he might have had 3 assists in the elimination game and in game 3. And I was terrified. I think he scored, actually. I was terrified that my takes were just going out the window. But it stood the test of time because this is not basketball. Mason Appleton had a massive goal in that comeback game too. That's the difference between Edmonton and Winnipeg.
Correct.
And again, you had Ehlers coming back, so the top 6 was solidified. Shifley had a massive game. And the depth came through. And it just was nowhere to be found. And you can also see on the defensive side of it where there was no depth either, because Nurse played 60 minutes. Can we talk about that? It took 3 overtimes to do that. It took 5 overtimes for Seth Jones to hit that mark. That talks about the reliance Edmonton had to have on him. Their third pairing didn't see the ice basically in game 3, past 10 minutes into the third.
That's embarrassing.
They were non-options. That's how bad it was. And may we never forget at the deadline. What did Ken Holland say? You can't go in every year. And McDavid proceeded to have 100 points plus. And he did nothing for him.
Have you heard the quotes?
I haven't actually seen any of Ken Holland's presser today, Alex. So please enlighten me.
It was not great. Let me go to Marc Spector because I know he has them. It was not good. Like, this is the first one I saw today as I'm eating lunch, scrolling through my phone. Mm-hmm. We got beat by a real team. Winnipeg is an established program with really good players, really good depth. We're trying to grow into one of those really good hockey programs.
Okay.
They didn't have any defense.
How do you say that?
Again, like we talk about, like, yeah, the core is pretty young, but I mean, for how long you've had all of them, like now it's another thing to say, like, oh, we still need to grow into a winner.
Like they have, like, they have guys like Bouchard, Yamamoto's still young, but it's
sure.
Like,
Philip Broberg.
There is a sort of drop off right now. And I love how they're pumping the tires of their AHL team right now, even though they're the only division playing playoff games right now in the AHL. Like, what are we doing here? What's the plan?
Raphael Lavoie.
He'll be a good player, but
Ryan McLeod.
He's gonna be a good player. That's the issue. He's going to be. They need someone now. Like,
you know what's funny? I have a fun fact.
They need depth, and they need someone who can play defense, which was my entire point about why Tyson Barrie was a good signing, but the wrong player.
Mm-hmm.
He was good if they got, a two-way solid defensive guy, or Oscar Klefbom didn't get injured. You know what I'm talking about? Like, he's a complimentary, power play specialist.
He's the cookie man. He's the cookie monster. And his cookies are the power play.
It's like he's Justin Schultz on a good defensive core.
So Justin Schultz when he was a Penguin?
Yeah, that's what I think. That's the perfect Tyson Barrie. He was not a top
Barrie when he was on Colorado.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. The fun fact I have is when they talk about, they want to keep growing, their second round pick is still going to Detroit for Andreas Antanasiou.
God. That's why. That's why Ken Holland didn't do anything.
That's why we can't go in over a year, because I already went in last year when we were clearly not good enough. What is going on? I love it, and I'll say it here. Nathan MacKinnon would never allow his team to get swept. Never. Would never happen.
I saw the comments on that our TikTok where guys like, "What are you saying? He plays on a line with Mikko Rantanen and Gabriel Landeskog."
So I don't have TikTok, so I haven't seen the comments. Don't tell me people were saying that.
Yeah, people were saying that.
Yeah,
the Oilers lost when they stapled Leon and Connor together. If you whatever, I mean, listen. If you listen to these last few episodes, I think I was being serious in saying that MacKinnon is better. If you watch the video portion, I have to cover myself because I'm laughing every time I make the joke. Then get real. But honestly, you actually can't deny that he is the best player in the world right now because McDavid's not playing hockey anymore.
Correct.
And he's gone.
Adam should be a lawyer.
You're
not the first person to say that to me. It's mostly my parents when I'm arguing with them, but
do it.
Anyway, no.
Be the next Gary Bettman.
We need legal counsel.
I could not. I'm not smart enough, and I like having some morsel of a personality. I could never be a lawyer. I talk too much. Anyway. Anything on that.
Yeah, one other thing that Ken Holland said today, and I just want you to take a guess at which player he's talking about. He said,
okay.
Someone asked him, is a buyout going to be part of Ken Holland's summer strategy? his response was very possible. Very possible. Cassian. Okay. Daniel. Sure. Yeah. Possible. I just looked at that deal. Okay.
Yeah, it's weird.
Out.
What? Wait. What's the deal? Remind the listeners. It's pretty bad.
3.2 for the next 3 years.
I was thinking Mikko Koskinen.
So was I.
That's another bad one. Yeah.
Also, they want to resign Mike Smith. So
Yeah, I saw that.
if it's Mikko Koskinen and Mike Smith,
man, if you have Smith as a backup, I don't think it's terrible the way he played.
no, it's not.
I think he's earned another contract, but it's just he's 39. Like again, we talked about it this season. That's great. Your future plans cannot be relying on a 39-year-old goaltender. That's not how this works.
I don't even know. Like, do they have any other goalies?
Stuart Skinner. He was a 3rd-round pick 2 years ago.
Skinner.
He did play because they kind of had to make him play.
And he was not good. I remember him playing this year. It was not an amazing viewing party.
You know who they really could have used at 14th overall this year?
Who?
Yaroslav Askarov if he didn't go to Nashville.
Oh.
But
he'd be here or be in Russia?
He'd be in Russia.
Yeah, no, he would be. Yeah, no, he would be. In the wake of this, the timing is horrible here. Wayne Gretzky has left the organization.
Yeah.
So it's because he's going to TNT, and apparently he's making $3 million a year, which is like whatever. Attaboy Wayne. Whatever he's doing right now, though.
Does he need more money?
Here's the thing. Remember when he was coaching Arizona?
Yeah.
He didn't leave because it's like he was protecting his reputation. I think that at the end of the day, it helps Wayne Gretzky's brand that he will now be part of one of the big front runners in the U.S. developmental. I don't think Wayne Gretzky is going to be an amazing analyst. He just doesn't have the. I don't want to disrespect the best player to ever play the game after Peter Forsberg, but Wayne Gretzky's not the biggest personality. Like, regardless of whether this is because he is embarrassed that the Oilers just lost to a sweep to the Jets, it is without a question a terrible look that days after you lose in the first round, after McDavid is the best season since like Gretzky played, that he leaves your organization, regardless if it's for TNT or whatever. It looks god awful for them.
Yeah, it was an odd series of events because he said he was leaving, and then a couple out, like it's like, okay, well, there's 2 hours. Let's just speculate because I guess that's what Twitter's for.
He could have waited for the official announcement with them, or at least
He
just said, guys, and you could have said to TNT because they prefer to give him $3 million a year, and it's Wayne Gretzky. He could have had the zest to be like, can we hold off here? Daniel, what were you going to say there? I
thought it was a joke because at first I actually thought it was like a joke because when Wayne Gretzky did the quote of "you miss 100% of the shots you don't take," and I know what he's doing. Yeah. But when I first saw that, I thought it was a fake Wayne Gretzky account, and then when I checked it, I'm like, no, he actually tweeted that out.
Oh man, the Oilers.
He missed a crucial part of it though.
What?
He didn't add Michael Scott at the bottom.
He did not.
Oh. That's
he's stealing another man's quote.
All right. So for you guys, what was worse for timing? The Rangers firings or this?
The Rangers.
The Rangers, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought the same thing.
Because that was actual hockey ops people. This is like reputation-wise, it's hilarious to see Wayne Gretzky leave. The Rangers, Tom Wilson burnt the organization to the ground.
Literally.
That's much worse.
I kind of forgot that Wayne Gretzky was a part of the organization.
Same.
It's like he doesn't not that he doesn't do anything. I bet he's a great voice to have in there because it's Wayne Gretzky. Yeah. But it's like I rarely hear from him and I don't really know what he does.
Was it Keith that was the interim GM?
I think he's still the GM, right?
He's AGM, yeah.
Too much if he leaves now.
That'd be even funnier.
I love that. I love the Oilers. I love them so much for all the wrong reasons. I think we should, when we have the time here, also acknowledge that all the stuff that's been going on with Ethan Bear and
Yes.
sort of racist comments being made against him is disgusting, and there's no play. Like, it's so difficult to actually say that hockey is for everyone because, man, it feels like there's an incident and we're waiting. Like, I don't want people to think we're ignoring this. We're waiting till after Thursday to talk about Ron McLean. We are going to address it, but he had a statement. Sports had the statement, but we want to wait until his first broadcast back before we cover that. But it is very difficult when it feels like every other week there is some incident that makes you think, God, this league sometimes of this. And it's not the league itself in this scenario, but it is still like the fans around it. There's just still this stench around hockey sometimes where it's like, God, it doesn't feel inclusive. And it's such a damn shame.
Yeah. Shout out to Ethan Bear, though. I don't know if you guys saw it. It came out at 6:45. Just after we started recording, he through the Oilers Twitter, I'm assuming it's on Instagram as well, but giving a statement about the comments. So that does take a lot. So shout out to him.
I feel for the guy. I know that he's been someone too that's been really involved with making sure that there's a lot more of an indigenous like influence in the NHL, that he's been part of so many committees and so many efforts for that. And it's disappointing. Like, we always forget, like, this guy's only 23. That for what we talk about the Oilers, like, he gave it his all. Like, it's not his fault they lost. And to just like single him out like that is just another like horrible thing to look at. That, again, when we always talk about that, you know, the NHL is kind of playing a bit of a passive role with everything that's going on. It's alarming to me. It's alarming that you know, there's nothing really substantial to kind of address it in a way. I think, like, I like that the Oilers have kind of gone on their own and to do this, but it's a disappointing thing.
Mm-hmm. I've been told, apparently I didn't realize that Sportsnet were actually having the game tonight in Canada. So apparently Ron has spoken. So I'm going to try and get audio of that up. Or, okay, no, we know it's on. We'll talk about it next episode because right now we are not prepared to talk about it because I didn't know he had talked yet. But we will address it because it's pretty important. And when I first saw that audio, I was like, oh, man, that's not great. But we will address it next episode. Don't worry.
Sunday.
Yeah. Okay. What series do you guys want to get to next? Rock, paper, scissors, air. No,
There's two left, right? Carolina, Nashville.
There's three.
All
We got
three.
Tampa series, Carolina, Vegas.
Can we do Tampa, Vegas, Nashville?
Oh,
Okay.
Carolina, Nashville, yeah.
Cool. Okay, Tampa Bay. Spencer Knight gives up the first. I think it was a shot about like 55 seconds in. Makes
Keith
30
Yandel with
plus-
the turnover.
Sorry.
Keith Yandel with the turnover.
Oh, he was playing.
Yeah, that was his first game back from being a healthy scratch for 2 games.
And let's see if he plays tonight.
I saw the replay. Alex Baumgartner posted it on Twitter, and it's like, my God, it's like your first shift, man. It's like, come on.
So, but after that,
Yeah.
Spencer Knight does not allow another goal, and the Panthers win. Funny enough, Bobrovsky did not back up that night either. They force a game 6. Panthers never say die.
Did you guys watch the video I added there?
I did not.
I didn't because I just saw
Okay.
it before we started.
No problem.
It's from the Goonies.
I've never seen the Goonies, and I never will.
No, okay. There's a part where they were like they're trying to escape from the cave, and someone, like one of the girls, gets discouraged and says that you know, we're gonna die here and no one's gonna ever find us.
Yeah.
And then you know, Samwise Gamgee, the main character, said, you know, Goonies never die. And I felt that with the Panthers, that, again, if we're gonna use another meme example, like, you know that part, you know, in like Thor Ragnarok, where it's like, you can never defeat me. It's like, I know, but he can.
Yes.
I kind of felt like the Thor part of that was like
Spencer.
Chris Drieger and Sigurd Bobrovsky, and then
Oh,
like
yeah.
the Hulk is Spencer Knight.
You know,
Um,
I love that movie.
Can I be honest? The only scene I know from the Goonies is when I don't know who it is. I've seen it. Is when someone goes, "Hey, you guys," and that's it. That is it. The only scene I know from that movie.
Did you say what's the guy? Samwise.
Gamgee.
What?
Samwise?
Is this a Lord of the Rings reference?
Well, I mean, like it's like Shane Austen, right? That's the actor.
The only Samwise I know is Samwise from Lord of the Rings. The best
Now
character.
you know
in the
second
movie.
Samwise.
Anyway,
I'm getting confused. I mentioned that Lord of the Rings. Like it's the same actor.
yeah, but I didn't realize that was what you were doing. I feel embarrassed now. I thought there was legit a character also called Samwise.
Oh no, it's like
And I'm like, what?
Okay.
Excuse me? Did they rip this off? And for anyone yelling about the movies, yes, but I'm pretty sure the books came out before the Goonies.
yeah, the books came out like after
Books
World
are
War
like,
II.
yeah, because Tolkien's been gone for a while.
Yeah, it was based on his experiences with World War One.
Yeah, that's
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that there were dwarves and elves.
Okay, I'm talking about the battles.
I didn't know the first.
Wait, so who were Gandalf and the like Riders of Rohan?
I don't know, like the British cavalry and the I don't know.
Probably the Americans coming in
Probably.
Yeah, maybe.
in both wars. Oh man. Yeah, Tampa. Honestly, Tampa Bay. I don't want them to win because it's obviously underdog story. And listen, they don't know Tampa. They don't know the scouting report on Spencer Knight. How often have we seen a young goalie come into the playoffs and be like, "Hey there, I have a cup now."
Patrick Law.
Yeah, Patrick, Matt Murray,
Ryder
Jordan
Brodeur.
Binnington. Some of those careers have turned out, some have not. But, well, I mean, Binnington's got a lot of money now. But there's a real possibility that they can come back from this.
There is.
Florida, I mean.
Yeah,
They have momentum.
I figured. They do have momentum, and I think that is a huge thing in the playoffs. And Spencer Knight has been got the ball rolling for them, and that is when you have a hot goalie, that always helps.
Yes.
As long as the team in front of you scores, it always helps.
And we know that they can, right? Like the Panthers have always been a very like even again, like it's never been scoring that's been the issue with Florida. It's always been the net. And we saw it early in the series. They couldn't decide on a guy between the pipes, and they're getting it now. You know what? A good coach, good star power, some decent young depth guys, few playoff performers like Sam Bennett not getting suspended.
My gosh, I didn't realize before when I looked at his numbers, he has more points as a Panther than a Flame this year.
Yeah, well, because he didn't play, he didn't try in Calgary. We all knew he wanted to leave. Did we say Vegas next?
Yeah.
Okay. The Wild forced Game 6, but
After coming
injuries.
back.
Yes, true, fair enough. Marc-Andre Fleury, come on, man. I'm kidding. The Wild have injuries, though, and from that, I did not know that Calen Addison and Matt Boldy had not played.
No, yeah, like Matt Boldy technically it's actually I've been talking with a lot of people who are also working at Hockey Writers with me, like part of the staff, and we don't know yet if he's playing yet because there's been so many injuries or thinking is Nick Bonino gonna play. So Matt Boldy might make his debut, but Calen Addison for sure is in the lineup. And man, that guy who's 21 years old looks 40.
Was it Calen Addison that was the picture one of you threw up about comparing him and Matthews and just their hair and mustaches? It's like Evan Bouchard looks 30 and he's like 21.
That might just be the Edmonton effect.
But
I'm back. Sorry.
No, go finish.
I was just saying, I'm back on crapping on Edmonton. Okay.
It's a lot of fun. I'm still kind of worried about Vegas that they haven't put away Minnesota and Colorado, or just having rest Kadri's getting more time to get that appeal for it figured out, which I think is happening tomorrow.
Yes.
I'm still concerned about Vegas. I still am. I mean, I'm not trying to count Minnesota out. However, I think it's going to be, if this goes to 7, I think I go Team Minnesota. Especially because, like, what the hell's going on with Pacioretty?
I don't know.
Again, like, non-factor in the playoffs because, we'll never remember.
Max Pacioretty.
Max Pacioretty, but sorry, Max.
Still love you. Forever a Hab.
Yep. But anyway, Vegas, Minnesota, a weird series. I'm sure, Daniel, you thought that. I'm sure you're not surprised with how things have gone.
In a way, I still am, because even though no matter what, like I said it so many times, that it's a success regardless of how this goes. And Minnesota's been still surprising me, like the way they've been kind of pivot around all these injuries, that they've been able to still play as a unit no matter who's really like the main cogs there. I really like that, Zach Parise got a goal, that he is redeeming himself, that he's having fun again. That's what he talked about. And man, I don't know, like Vegas, like I would love to see Minnesota go, but the way the Golden Knights have been touted by really everyone, by the betting odds, by a lot of analysts, like that they are the heavy favorites, where I never really saw it. And I'm not saying now because they're struggling a bit, but I love the players. Like, again, I love Marc-Andre Fleury, but if we're going to use the Colorado comparison again, I don't think they're as complete.
No. Again, down the middle.
It's showing.
Yes, I believe Braden McNabb and someone else are on the COVID list for tonight, which is kind of a concern.
Yeah. I guess this is a result of being so cap constrained, where it's now showing its issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like I brought it up a couple episodes ago. They went 10 games down a man. It's like, oh my God, how are you doing this? Why? Like, why are you doing this?
No depth.
It's like, I get you wanted Alex Pietrangelo, but
What did it cost?
that's a good one.
Nate Schmidt.
That's a good one, Daniel. I like that. The Thanos reference.
3-2 Pittsburgh, by the way. I think it was Zucker got it. So, he's been good, Daniel, as you said.
Fun fact before we move on.
Yep.
I have so many of these today. Thanos was in the Goonies.
I'm assuming you mean his actor.
Yes, Josh Brolin. He was the big brother that was reluctant to go on the adventure, but then he becomes one of the heroes.
Friendship. And yay, you guys. There's an octopus or something in there. I don't know. I haven't seen the Goonies. Never will. Finally, Carolina and Nashville. Now, we did say that Carolina should have easily won. I think I said that they were going to. I'm pretty sure I predicted the series would be done by this episode. However, in our series preview, we did mention, I think Alex especially, the one thing that could probably work for Nashville, and they did lose last night in overtime, so Carolina do have a 3-2 lead. UC Soros single-handedly won Nashville Game 4. Jordan Stahl with the game winner in Game 5, though the way it's been going in net, ignoring playoff officiating because it's crap, we all know that. Nashville, they're not done. I don't know why I'm trying to push this, because Carolina are going to win the series, but could you imagine they didn't?
It'd be maximum chaos.
I'd actually be disappointed, to be honest, because not from like, I'm going to be honest here. We never really have, we're never impartial on here. But again, like I don't know. I'd be disappointed to see Nashville in the next round. Like for me, I'm just like, Carolina's so fun. I need them to keep going.
Are you calling us bias?
I'm about to say, like, yeah, we try.
Yeah, we try. I'm just like, I'm going to be honest today and say that I don't know. I don't want Nashville to advance.
You're team Storm Surge.
I am. I love the clap.
You're what Nashville would call one of the jerks, which is that's a term of endearment, people. Remember that whole bunch of jerks thing when Don Cherry called them that?
I don't know.
We
if
never got the shirt.
It's a term of endearment, though.
What?
I said I don't know if he meant that as a term of endearment.
Oh, he
though.
did it, but the Carolina turned it into one.
Yeah.
I hope they lose because that means Seb realizes I do have to go back to my favorite team in Montreal, but
Sure.
he signed a contract.
Okay,
There was the
I'm not doubting
intent.
that. I'm not doubting that.
I'm not. There is no doubting. It's a fact.
Okay,
Bergevin made it very clear.
yes.
But sad, yeah, good old sad. Jordan Staal, the good one. Man, Jordan Staal the past couple of years has really proven how good he is. Like, we all knew he was good in Pittsburgh, but and even in his time in Carolina, it was like, yeah, he's good, but is he enough? Like, is he worth the C at one point? I was definitely asking, like, Jordan Staal, really? I think I questioned why it wasn't Jeff Skinner or Justin Falk at the time. Boy, has that roster changed.
Yeah,
But
not
he
for
has
the
been-
better.
Yeah, oh, for sure. But he has been so mega this playoffs. I think that was his third or fourth goal.
Let me double check that. That is his fourth goal.
That's incredible.
But even just in the regular season, like he's had we'll call it a resurgence. He had 38 points in 53 games. Points wise, like that's just above. That's 11 points from the year before, but that's also 15 less games, right? So he's kind of having at age 32 this resurgence with a really fun team.
I'll tell you who's fun to watch, by the way. Martin Necas.
Yes.
Every time I watch their games, it's a different name. I think it's Neches.
I've heard Nakash.
I've heard many.
It's Finnish, so there's probably 6 different ways of saying it.
We should get him on the show so he could confirm.
Yeah, we definitely should.
Yeah. We'll add him to the list.
Guys, we miss 100% of the shots we don't take.
Who said it though? Who said it?
Those things where like they have those quote boards.
Yeah.
That you could buy at like department stores, and it's like quote unknown. Like it just says unknown at the bottom.
Who say it?
I was rewatching some Office episodes the other day. God, it gets funnier the older you get, honestly.
Which one?
A few of them, like there's good stuff, like the episode where like the warehouse guys and like Jim are at like the bar and like they run into Roy and he's like, yeah, you and her started out as just friends because like Pam's partying and Jim's like driving and he turns around to go back home because he's like, we're not that couple.
We're not that couple.
And it's just like when like the Michael and Holly stuff and just how goofy they are together and just how adorable it is.
I loved Holly.
And how it just cuts to like, oh, she's the best. And how like they're like doing their little like PDA like dorky stuff. And it just cuts to Michael Scott going, I believe after the third date is when you have sex. And it just cuts away from him. And it's just hilarious, man. And then it's like, it cuts to like Angela and she's like, I read a chapter of my book, turn my lights off and go to bed. That's how I sleep at night. After it cuts away from her and Dwight going to do the adult stuff in the warehouse. Because she's obviously engaged to Andy.
I didn't think we'd be talking about this.
It's just so fun. I don't mean to go that rude, but it's just so freaking funny.
But
I thought we were gonna go through like the sweetness thing. Like, what if I like? Because I'm rewatching it again too.
I mentioned Jim being good. Oh, hockey. Yeah. Well, Carolina should have won by now. It's not our fault. But
remember when Michael Scott played for the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins?
Daniel, what are you doing here? Well, didn't he do hockey in his like threat level midnight stuff?
Yeah. He jumped onto the ice during like a Penguins practice.
See, I know a lot of people go on about how they can't watch Scott's Tots, and I can't either, but I can't watch Threat Level Midnight. It's just, I can't do it. It's too much.
There's certain episodes I cannot watch.
So The Lover is the best episode of the
I'm not gonna lie, Poker Night, I couldn't rewatch it. Like, I think the first time I actually went through the series again. I couldn't watch Poker Night.
I think everyone hop on Twitter so we can see if there's any breaking news. Because we should probably stop before we keep going down this hole of The Office. You love to say it. Hey there, potential next step for Tavares.
Oh,
light exercise, increasing intensity of workouts one day at a time. If he's ready for that, may include light skating in coming days, as this concussion will be handled with tremendous care by Toronto medical staff. I don't care. Just beat us in 6. Besides that, what?
Yeah, he's not coming back.
But what happens? Like, do you just get refunded your ticket?
Oh, yeah. Don't worry about that.
Oh, you just paid it. I'm like, they make you pay for the potential.
No, when they sent the email out to season ticket holders saying, the game might happen, they were like, don't worry, it's going to be refunded.
They send you an IOU letter.
They just refund the card. Like when the season ended last year, they were like, they weren't going to be greedy. They were like, okay, you can either have the money back or you can put it towards your next year tickets. So they're good with that. They're not like Buffalo, who are like, yo, go get and pay for your own COVID test, fans. And then the game got canceled. Oh my God, we're not going to help you, because the Sabres. But just losing 6, that's all I want. Like I'll be mad because the team sucks. But if I could see a hockey game again,
yeah,
so much will be forgiven. So much.
Yeah, of course.
So much. Anyway, that's everything.
Is it?
Is it?
Yes.
Predictions.
Our predictions.
God,
yes.
Yeah. Hockey's still on. Okay, well, so it's 3-2 Islanders. Sorry, 3-2 Penguins. I'm not going to ask you guys. We did cheat.
That's fair.
Panthers Lightning. For the sake of my bracket, Panthers force game 7.
Yeah.
I think Tampa Bay will win tonight.
How dare you?
What score, Adam?
It's 6-4.
Okay. Alex?
I'm going to go with 5-3, and that 5th goal is an empty netter.
Okay. I'm going to go 5-4 Florida in overtime. Carter Verhaeghe scores the winner.
Wow, that is specific. I mean, that's okay.
Vegas, Minnesota. I say Vegas close the series out, and I think the game-winning goal will go to Shea Theodore.
I'm going to go with Vegas as well. I think the score is going to be 3-1. Again, Marc-Andre Fleury standing on his head, and if I guess we're doing game-winning goals, Mark Stone, because that would help my fantasy team.
I'm going to go 3-2 in overtime for the Wild, and I think Zach Parise scores the game winner.
That'd be hilarious. Oh, so you said Mark Stone, by the way, right?
I did say
not Mark Stahl, because he doesn't play.
Did I say Mark Stahl?
No. I'm taking a shot at Chris Cuthbert, who kept it was Elliot Friedman who kept referring to Eric Stahl as Mark Stahl.
Oh.
I know we're not the Leafs, but get our players right, please. It's not the first time this series that has happened, and I would appreciate it because we're going to get our asses kicked and have been if you could at least get our players right.
Well,
like Gary Galley calling Tyler Toffoli Michael Ryder.
Yeah, that's bad.
Are you actually serious?
That's bad.
He did that earlier in the year.
That's bad.
And not once or twice, many times throughout the night.
When we have Elliot Friedman on the show, because my prediction,
we will have
Elliot Friedman on the show. You can tell him.
I will. I'll say I'm insulted that you remembered Alex, not myself, but I appreciate that you remember my shoes.
At least the shoes.
The fact that he also he complimented my shoes when he had a few drinks made it all the better. Thank you, The Voice, as always, for your fantastic platform for the show. Check out the show on YouTube to get the video portion. That's always fun. You can look at Stephen A. Smith and the Instagram posts and everything that Daniel and Alex, puts up. Check out, speaking of social media, check out the show's TikTok as well and all that other stuff, our own personal social medias. Alex's blog, Daniel's, not his YouTube channel, his stuff for the Hockey Rise and the Eye Opener. Check out my YouTube channel. I have to film the HFR for last night's game, and I don't want to. But we like hockey. Check out everything about hockey to do with the show. Nothing else, just ours. And tweet at Elliot Freeman saying, come on the 2-1 podcast. We'll welcome him with open arms.
Oh, yeah.
And we won't charge him anything to come on.
Never.
We do not do that. Disclaimer. Goodbye.